And welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus on this April Fool's Day 2026. And Mother Nature's not fooling around. We got a couple of snow systems heading our way over the next few days. We'll have more on that in a bit. I'm Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki, along with our Ag Director, Bridgette Readel. Bridgette, are you ready for the snow heading our way?
So talking to folks out in the area today, you're looking at Dickinson's already got snow accumulation. Highway systems look like there's some areas that are wet, but certainly not icy as of this point. North Central South Dakota sent some photos to me this morning. They also are just starting to get some accumulations over there, and flurries have begun here in northern Cass County. So it's starting. I think we'll wait and see what the day looks like by the time we get towards nightfall. But at this point, folks, I think, are mostly prepared and ready to go.
Yeah, and we've got, taking a look at Department of Roads here, from Bismarck westward, we're starting to see some scattered slippery spots, especially out towards the Dickinson area. Like you said, they had reports of some heavy snow. They had a heavy snow band go through Dickinson just last hour, and that is all slowly spreading eastward. So we will continue to see snow overspread the area as we head into the evening hours. Now, we do have a winter weather advisory that goes into effect this evening and into the overnight hours. Now, we're not looking at a lot of snow, but some light snow overspreading the area as we head into the evening and overnight hours. Will drop from the 30s into the upper 20s tonight as winds turn to the northeast 10 to 20. Snow continues throughout the day on Thursday, and again, most of it will be light, moderate occasionally. Now, I'm expecting about 2 to 4 inches of snow. Might see an isolated 5-inch amount across the FM area. There could be some areas out in Lakes Country that get a little closer to 6, but a general 2 to 4 inches on Thursday. So not a big deal. We will have slippery travel by Thursday evening. So if you have any travel plans, it will be a little slick out there, but nothing we can't get through with 2 to 4 inches. Then we'll see a break Thursday night. And then as we head into your Friday, we'll see a break through about lunchtime on Friday. So if you have any travel plans, Thursday night and Friday is quiet. It'll give the road crews a good chance to clean off the roads before the next system comes in here as we head into Friday afternoon and Saturday.
Bomb cyclone. What's a bomb cyclone? I don't even know what to do. If there was a snowstorm or a blizzard, I would know what to do. What do I do?
So as that second system comes in, that will be the stronger one, and that will affect our area through lunchtime, about 2 o'clock or so on Saturday before that pulls east. That one promises to dump 6 to 8 inches of additional snow on top of the 2 to 4 that we're going to receive on Storm 1. So overall, we're expecting about 6 to 10 inches of snow here in the FM area, and there will be pockets of heavier snow within that, probably into Lakes Country. I will have a snowfall total map put up on our website here by 3 o'clock this afternoon if you want to check out all of our different computer models and what they're forecasting, and they're all over the place in terms of amounts, but a general 6 to 10 inch snowfall with both storms combined expected across the area. So again, I don't think storm number 1 is going to pose too much of a travel issue, but the second system as we head into Friday night and early Saturday, that is going to pose some travel issues across the area. But by Easter Sunday, that system well out of our hair. We'll probably see a little sunshine and temperatures rebound back into the 30s, and we'll start to melt away a little bit of that snow as we head into Easter Sunday. So you might not be the Easter egg hunt will you might have to bury those eggs in the snow because, like I said, we'll have quite a bit of it on the ground, it looks like.
Well, a question from a listener is, will the winter weather advisory be upgraded to a storm at any point in the next couple of days?
We will have a separate advisory or watches. I'm guessing that the Weather Service will issue winter storm watches for that second storm. That won't be issued probably until sometime tomorrow. That second storm is still off the West Coast. Once those storms get inland, we get much better computer model data. And that way we'll be able to pinpoint where the exact bands of heavy snow. There's a wide swath of heavy snow with this second system, but obviously that's not. It will narrow itself down, and once that storm gets inland, as we head into tonight and tomorrow morning, that's when we get better model data, and that's when the National Weather Service will kind of narrow down what areas will be more than likely put under a winter storm watch for that second system Friday night into Saturday. So, yes, there will more than likely be at least advisories, second advisories issued, but more than likely we'll probably have winter storm watches issued with that second storm.
You are all more than welcome to send us your weather ideas and let us know what's doing in your neighborhood. Is it snowing? Is it not? And what happens as these systems move through and how much do you accumulate? You can do that by sending us emails, ag@flagfamily.com or weather@flagfamily.com. And those email inboxes are powered by Superior Grain Equipment because you want to protect your farm's future with Superior Grain Storage, Drying, and Handling Solutions. So you can find them at superiourbins.com. We always take phone calls. Happy to have you reach us on the JLA Insurance phone line, 701-293-9000, and we'll be able to see what you will be able to see what we're talking about, especially if we show any of the weather maps and models, etc. And that will be brought to us by Lighthouse Commodities. They make sure that our live stream shows up on Acres, TV, Facebook, and YouTube every single day. Today is also Wednesday weather trivia. We want to make sure that as we approach the spring fishing season, you have the opportunity to skip those messy, leaky, breakable bait buckets. You know, those little foam ones that somebody always kicks over anyway, and you got minnows everywhere. Well, Darter Plastics makes sure to give us our own personalized bait ups, and they are an easy way to keep your minnows handy so that you don't have to worry about diving into cold water to get them. And even better, you can replenish that low oxygen water without the loss of live baits. So again, we'll be doing Wednesday weather trivia at some point today in the show. Many of you also saw early morning announcements about a elevator fire up at Warren, Minnesota. That is a CHS fire. What they see going on up there, pretty standard situation where you have an older section of the elevator that was engulfed in flames this morning. The first emergency calls were coming in around 4 a.m. They did call off school in Warren, which I think is a good idea for a couple of reasons. One, we don't need any more people coming to town and gawking, right? So if kids are not in school that day, then you have less traffic. You also have less water drawing on the system that they need the water to contain the fire, because at that point, it's not about saving structure, especially because it's an older wood cribbed area that looked like it was on fire. I would say that it's probably smarter to this is just my opinion, keep it contained, don't let it extend damage, and just let it burn down because you really don't have anything very salvageable. And additionally, when you're in small towns, a lot of your fire departments are teachers or employees at other businesses. And if everybody's needed and they've been up a big chunk of the night fighting fire, maybe it's a good idea to just say, we're not going to have classes today. We're going to make this up in a different way. So that has been going on in Warren, Minnesota. That started very early hours this morning, and my guess is by now things have probably tempered down just a little bit. Our guest today is Don Kinzler. He's with NDSU Extension, especially when we talk about horticulture. We love to have Don come on. Don, it's April Fool's Day. I have a plethora of terrible plant jokes.
Oh, boy.
Well,
So
she gave us some yesterday.
Yeah,
They're
she
pretty
gave us
bad.
some yesterday, Don. When she says they're terrible, she's not kidding.
Well, good afternoon. I got to hear this.
Okay, so Don, I'm relying on you and all your gardening knowledge. What might be a frog's favorite flower?
He's really thinking.
I've heard this one before, but I've forgotten the punchline.
Because especially that it's spring, the crocus.
Not bad.
Okay,
Not bad.
How about something along the lines of vegetables? Which vegetable loves animals the most?
I don't know.
A zucchini.
Once again?
Zucchini.
Oh, okay. I'm a little dense this afternoon. It took,
No,
it took me
no.
a little while. Okay.
I will be sending these to my favorite fourth graders. Well, probably kindergartners, for them to really use these on the playground. I think they'll find them handy and fun. So Don is here, and when we return from our livestock report with the American Ag Network, we're going to visit with him. We got lots of great questions about snow mold, tomatoes, ooh, lilacs. Everybody still wants to put a fungicide on, and when should we be doing that? We'll ask all those questions with Don when we return. And don't forget about doing the fence check assessment at Tech Support Farm because you want to make sure that your cybersecurity is up to speed. I see more and more situations with hackers. In fact, there was another one just sent to me this morning. Someone got into the Minot water treatment plant, their server up in Minot, and they have been holding things hostage with ransomware. You don't want that happening to your farm or agribusiness, so you're going to want to talk to Chris Sherman. He's at techsupport.farm, and you can do the fence check assessment to find out if your security is good or not. Don Kinzler. Well, Don, we get a lot of shout outs. People are like, hey, Dawn's here. And great questions for you with all of your extensive knowledge with NDSU horticulture. And the first one that I get the most comments about has to be lilacs. There is a pseudocercospora disease, and many, including myself, are planning on putting a fungicide on our lilacs. Give us those details. What should we be doing and when?
Well, thank you for inviting me back. And yes, lilacs, the past 2 growing seasons have really been affected by that fungal disease that you named, pseudocercospora. You know, that's a name to roll around in your mouth, pseudocercospora. And it has gotten it gets its toehold early in the season, in spring, when we have lots of humidity, the rainfall just at the right or wrong times. And the tricky thing with that disease, well, first of all, the symptoms, by about the middle of summer, the lilac leaves start to kind of get yellowish. And if it proceeds, the yellowish leaves turn brown and eventually drop off. And by the end of the growing season, the lilacs can look totally devoid of foliage and look really, really bad. And now the last couple of years, I've seen old established lilacs along the outside of windbreaks just totally looking awful, such that I had never seen that before, looking that bad. And so it was widespread across the region. In fact, by September, there were even some of those lilacs that were devoid of foliage that were blooming, kind of as a response to the lilac, I suppose, to, gosh, is something going to happen to me? Do I need to reproduce, produce flower seeds, etc.? And so that was kind of a weird thing, too. I got lots of photos of lilacs blooming in September. But anyway, the tricky thing about this disease is that by the time we see it appearing, it's too late for control. Fungicides are primarily preventative. They have to establish a shield of protection before that fungus gets kind of attached onto the leaves. And so by the time you see it, it's too late to do anything about it, really. And we can't, we don't have a crystal ball to let us know if that fungi is going to be a problem this year. So that's why prevention early is really important. Now, here's the tricky part. The fungicides that we can apply to prevent this disease on lilacs has to be applied when the leaves are just starting to unfold. So probably in May sometime, maybe even early May, when there's about a ½ an inch of leaf showing, green leaf showing, that's the time to get a fungicide on. So if we take a look at fungicides, for homeowners, something over the counter from a garden center that has the product, the active ingredient called chlorothalonil. Look at the fine print on the label, chlorothalonil, and then read the label and follow the directions. Also, there is a systemic with the active ingredient propiconazole. I buy that packaged under the trade name Infuse. And again, follow the label directions always. But the key thing is, if your lilacs have been affected with this disease and defoliated for the last couple of growing seasons, you might opt to treat them with a fungicide. But again, the key is getting it on early. That's not the time of year we're thinking about protecting from lilac diseases. The same is true with ornamental flowering crab apples. They have had a different fungal disease called apple scab, but many ornamental flowering crabs by the middle of the season have started yellowing leaves. In some cases, all the leaves drop off. So same case, use a fungicide. Chlorothalonil is probably the most readily available for gardeners. And that needs to be applied too in early spring when you see about a ½ an inch of green leaf starting to unfurl. Again, we don't know what's going to happen. These diseases don't necessarily kill a lilac or a flowering crab, but if this happens year after year after year, it certainly diminishes their energy.
And with that, chlorothalonil as well as propiconazole. And for those of you who are thinking, how do I spell this? You can email me, agateFlagFamily.com. I can spell them. And when you're buying those products, they're very, I don't want to say one size fits all, but They're very robust that you can use them on a number of things. So don't be thinking, I only need to spray my lilacs with this and I need to get something completely separate. Read the labels. They do have labels for fruit and vegetables. There's probably a number of ways that you can use them. They're very safe to use, especially I look at propiconazole. That's a very easy to use triazole fungicide. And always remember to wear your PPE. So when you're spraying, you need to follow what the label says. Long pants, closed-toed shoes, gloves. I mean, let's not be out there in flip-flops and a tank top and now we're going to go spray the trees. That's not how this works, you guys. We have to be respectful of what we're doing.
And I always suggest that there are certain products that we gardeners keep on our shelves. One is a good insecticide, one is a good herbicide for controlling weeds, and another is a fungicide. And as you mentioned, Bridgette, many of these fungicides are broad spectrum in that the label will indicate they can be used on perennial flowers, shrubs, trees, fruits, some vegetables. And so it's nice to have a kind of a broad spectrum fungicide on hand. Because, as you indicate, hopefully we get these things applied before you see it if you've had a history of the disease, but sometimes at the very earliest sign on some things. Lilacs, it's got to be done way ahead of that. Same with the ornamental crabs. But other things, some vegetables and certain other shrubs, such as powdery mildew, if you can get it at the very earliest sign and get in with your fungicide, that's why it helps to have it on hand on the shelf.
And Don, according to Endon site, our frost depth still at about 20 to 24 inches.
Chilly soil.
Yeah, very. So how long? And now, obviously, with this with this large snow event coming in here over the next 3 days, we're going to get quite a bit of moisture, probably close to an inch of liquid equivalent, or between 3/4 and an inch. A lot of that's going to run off. How long is it going to take, roughly, do you think, to get that soil, that frost depth melted? We're going, any moisture we get, it's not going to run off, and we'll finally be able to get some needed moisture deeper in the soil.
Now, I was able to get a shovel down a certain number of inches.
I think it was 4 inches locally.
Yeah, so I was able to get that. And, it kind of varies. If there's open ground where soil is exposed, absorbs some sun, maybe it's thawed a little more.
Okay.
Areas that were kind of mulched, it stays a little colder under that mulch. So it kind of varies what spot we're looking at. But if there's a certain amount of topsoil that has gone above the freezing point of 32, then some of this moisture will be able to soak in, may not be able to penetrate down in soil that's below 32 degrees, but at least we might be able to get some of this on. The excess, of course, would run off of frozen soil.
Sure.
But, it's interesting you bring that up, Dean. Actually, in this Saturday's Forum Garden column, I'm writing about soil temperature and the effect that it has on our gardening. Because, so oftentimes we think, gosh, beautiful sunny spring days, maybe it's time for gardening. But the soil can give us some really good information about when it's time to start gardening. For example, some garden vegetables enjoy chilly soil. So you can plant those seeds when the soil is maybe 40, 45 degrees. And I like that Endon site that you mentioned, NDAWN. That gives a good soil depth, so you can monitor it. Some vegetables, like a chili, so you can plant those sometime in April when the soil gets 40, 42 degrees. Peas, kale, spinach, lettuce, onions, potatoes towards the end of April could go in. And other types of vegetables require warm soil. If you plant them in chilly soil, the seed will probably rot, or it will weakly germinate and then go downhill. And so warm-loving crops, squash, cucumbers, tomatoes, peppers, eggplant, melons, all require very warm soil. That's why they should be delayed until the last half of May, generally, until that soil will warm up. 50, 55 degrees, 55, 60 degrees would be better. And so now I don't have a soil thermometer. I've got to go to a garden center online and buy a soil thermometer. But my wife Mary's food thermometer does go down.
Does it? Okay, that works.
It does go down. Some of the food thermometers, for meat are just high. But this one does go down to about 20 degrees. So I use her food thermometer. I washed it afterwards.
I hope so.
I probed that, and the soil was about 40 degrees in our yard.
Okay.
In the top layers.
In the top layer, yes. And of course, the soil, the deeper you go down, of course, the chillier it gets.
Sure.
So the top layer was right around 40 degrees at about the 2-inch layer.
Okay. Okay.
I can probably help you with that soil probe thermometer. I think there's probably about 6 of them at my house, Don. So let me see what I can find for you.
Super.
I'm sure there's plenty. When we come back from the news, though, I have questions from listeners in regards to when should they be starting some seeds under grow lights, and then snow mold. And well, now that we're getting more snow, we still have some time to battle that. We'll talk with Don Kinzler when we return. All right, next week in Devil's Lake, starting on the 8th, that will be on Wednesday night. There's a social because Thursday, April 9th, there is the 2026 Land Annual Meeting. If you want to attend, you can drop me that email, ag@flagfamily.com. I'll get you the RSVP information for it. What Thursday's Land Actual Meeting entails is networking in the morning. The meeting begins at 10 a.m. There will be lunch. And the keynote speakers will include Senator Kevin Kramer as well as Shannon Full with the Fargo-Moorhead West Fargo Chamber of Commerce. We have a panel which includes folks from the Pacific Legal Foundation, Noonan Law, and these are going to be updates on the U.S. Fish and Wildlife lawsuits. Additionally, there's another conversation that's going to happen with More Engineering and Steffes Auction about conveyance ditches and economic impact. So if you have an opportunity and are in the Devil's Lake area, that's next Thursday. Wednesday night is the social. Thursday is the event. So our guest in studio today is Don Kinzler. He's with NDSU Extension. Don, we're stacking them up. I've got 2 listener questions that were emailed to me, but first we have Kevin on line 1. He's got a question for you from down in that Fergus Falls neighborhood.
Hey, Don. Kevin?
Good afternoon.
Hey, yeah, I love the thermometers. I have plenty from HVAC. They're 5 inches long. I think I emailed you about the crabgrass and temperature of soil. We're about 38 degrees, 4 to 5 inches down right now. But you got to move it. You know what? Some on the north side, it might be only 2. On the south side, I might be already frost-free on a house. And a lot of this snow will go down. I mean, it's going to hit a frost bed. We're not going to lose a lot other than what's on the street or the sidewalks.
Yeah, I was encouraged by the amount in our own yard that was frost-free. So, yeah, I have good hopes also. And you bring up a wonderful point, too, that it absolutely does vary around the house. The flowers on the south side of our house, the perennials, they think it's June, I think, with the sunshine. And, yeah, so, good, thanks. That's a great point.
Yeah. No,
Thanks so much, Kevin.
And it's a nice digital thermometer, easy to use.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Super helpful.
Thanks, Kevin. Have yourself a great Easter weekend.
Okay. Additionally, one of the questions I got for you, Don, is, all right, what is the best way to start seeds with a grow light right now, and any tips for success to keep them growing before they're planted outside?
Well, right now in our own basement, we've got lots of plants going. I love starting things from seed. Most of the vegetable plants that we put out in our garden and most of the flower plants we do raise in our basement under lights. Now, they can be special grow lights, plant lights. They work well. But also, in our own basement, I use shop-type lights. They're a 2-tube light, LEDs. That work. You can grow lots of good plants under those, so it's not a special plant light. And I like the horizontal type lights because you can get kind of trays under that rather than a round type bulb. And so things that we can start right now. Today is tomato seeding day. Each of the flowers and vegetable types require different lengths of time from seeding until you can produce a good transplant that will go out into the yard. So, for example, the begonias that we start have seed like dust. They need to be started in February. Other things grow much quicker. For example, in tomatoes, which grow quite rapidly, they are seeded April 1st. And so marigolds, I started those a couple of days ago. On a heat mat, they're already up. Zinnias can be started about April 15th. So anyway, right now there are many things that we could seed on April 1st is one of the kickoff calendar dates. And I always suggest seeding them in a seed tray, not into your final cell pack, because starting them in a seed tray on a nice warm mat, a seed germination mat, boost them along, and then you hand transplant them into your little pots or packs. That transplanting operation helps impart some vigor to those little seedlings, and that's the way the greenhouses do it. When we had our greenhouse for 25 or so years, you start them in seed trays, transplant them into the final pack. If it worked best to direct seed into those little packs or pots, the greenhouses would all do it because it's fairly labor extensive. So a couple of keys there, put your seeds in a tray on a nice warm mat. You know my favorite tray for starting seeds? It's the clear plastic from the bakery that donut balls come in.
Oh, yeah.
Punch some holes in the bottom. It makes a little miniature greenhouse. That's where I start many of our seeds in, and then transplant them into cell packs that I've saved from previous years. So anyway, yeah, lots of good gardening we can be doing under lights right now.
So, Don, another question. We're going to switch to fruit trees. This was emailed to me. And this listener wants to know what's a good type of mulberry tree or a similar fruit tree to be planting in this zone?
Mulberry. I'm glad you mentioned that. There is a wonderful mulberry, fully winter hardy for our area, the Trader, Trader, Trader mulberry. It's in the nursery trade. You might have to search a little bit, but you can find it. The Trader mulberry has been on the market for maybe 6, 7, maybe up to 10 years. This was a mulberry discovered in Valley City, North Dakota. It had been brought 100 years ago from Germany to this farmstead, and maybe 20 years ago, it was discovered still growing and producing mulberries. And so several good plant people recognized this as something marvelous for us, so they found ways to propagate it and get it into the nursery trade. So Trader, Trader, Trader mulberry. It's wonderful. We've got one in our own yard. I did not realize they could get up to 35 or 40 feet, and so I planted it too close to the house. So, but for picking, we want something maybe 12, 15 feet tall so you can reach it kind of with a step ladder. And so I keep it pruned every year. It's a wonderful, wonderful small tree, very large shrub. But wonderful. The mulberries are awesome.
And Don, we've got Todd on line one with a question for you. Todd, go ahead.
Hey, Don, welcome back.
Hi, thank you.
I've got a question with regard to my spider plant. My spider plant is old. It dates back to the 70s, and it hasn't been transplanted in many years, and I haven't added soil or fertilizer in many years other than water. And what's happened, Don, is it appears that the root structure has come out of the pot and come over the side as to where it is, because it looks almost like a little braided rope.
I know exactly what you mean.
And I'm wondering, what should I do with that? It's not dying or anything, but obviously it needs some attention. And what should I do?
Yeah, well, spider plants have even been known to break a clay pot that they're in because the force of the roots, they become a massive root system. Does it look good to you? You know, when you look at it, do you like the way it looks? Or has it gotten kind of top heavy and kind of flopping over?
No. Yeah, well, yeah, it's over because that, like I said, that part that looks like a braided root is probably, it's hanging out about probably 5-6 inches, and
right, because
that's out over the pot.
Yeah, they develop kind of a fleshy root. So a couple things you do. It's fine to cut off those roots if they're kind of making a mess or looking weird. You can cut off those roots. That's fine. I always suggest an older one. And happy birthday to your plant. That's awesome. I always suggest propagating some new ones from the little spiders, just in case anything happens to the venerable older one there. Propagate
them. When you say that, just cut a spider off that's come off it, the baby, the spider, cut that off and put it in a glass of water.
You got it.
To start roots.
You got it.
Okay.
Perfect. And then if ever it gets really top heavy, what I've done with some of our older ones, take it out of its pot, maybe trim off a little of the roots, and then cut the thing all the way back. Cut everything off down to about 1 or 2 inches above soil line, and it will regrow. But again, propagate some little ones before you do that, just in case. But if you want a total redo, you can totally shave the thing off down to about 1 inch or so.
Now, when you said that I could cut that braided root off, are you saying that I could cut it where it comes out of the soil.
Yes, and also if it's sticking out the bottom of the drain hole, you can cut any of that off. And also, yeah, if it's so pot bound that it's trying to find other space to grow, you can cut off those extra roots.
Okay, so if I cut that off at the soil level, should I then put that in a glass of water to get it to root?
I don't think they'll send up. They might. Well, it wouldn't hurt to try. But I don't think they'll send up a sprout from the roots. But you could try. Plants can surprise us.
Now, okay, so I think I'm going to take it down and try to repot it. In the pot that it's in is fine, but what I'm saying, I take out the soil and put in new soil.
That sounds great. And you can even, on the outer perimeter of that root ball, you can shave off with a knife, shave off the outer inch or so to give a little room for some fresh soil.
Okay, and dump in new soil and just get regular potting soil. Is that what you do?
Yep, good high-quality potting soil. When I say high quality, the cheapest potting soil is usually kind of heavy and not all that good. So it kind of pays, since the plant's going to be in there for a while to get something good from a garden center, kind of one of their higher-end mixes.
Okay, that's very good. Thank you, Don.
Yeah, gosh, good discussion.
Oh, that was a fabulous discussion, gentlemen. I greatly appreciate all of it.
I love spider plants.
Always. There are so many questions for people. We probably can't even get to them all, but I'm going to ask the last one real quick. Snow mold. Do we need to rake anything away after this next snow melts, or do we just wait until the lawn grows up a little bit and mow it?
Snow mold typically shows up when the first winter snow disappears. So it's showed up already on some lawns. So especially under the areas where big snow piles gets moldy underneath, it's kind of a grayish webbing, sometimes maybe a little pinkish in tone. So after that snow disappears, when the lawn gets dried a little bit with a leaf rake, just fluff the area up. It almost immediately looks good again. And okay, after this, if we do get 6 inches, 8 inches, 10 inches, whatever you said, Dean, there could be a little snow mold after that. So when that snow disappears, check your lawn. When it gets dry enough to where you can kind of do some raking, then just fluff it up with a leaf rake. It almost immediately gets rid of that matted fungus.
Perfect.
Adds fluffing her lawn to her to-do list. Thank you.
Thanks, Don. Well, when we come back, we will have our Wednesday weather trivia. Also, there's been a new update to the forecast. I'll give you the details right after the break. And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus, 1:53 in the afternoon on this April Fool's Day. And we have one more caller, Don. Mary's on line one with a question for you. Mary, go ahead.
Hey, Don. We took down a great big old ash tree last year, and all around it and in front of it, I had moles this year. I've never had moles in my lawn before. So I raked up all their little racetracks, but I will have to do some reseeding. Is there anything else should be spraying or doing in the spring of the year for moles?
Yes, and sometimes they're kind of nicknamed moles, but actually they're the field mice, the little brown, also called voles with a V, and they're kind of the little brownish, tannish, grayish field mouse with a very short tail. And exactly as you described, Mary, when the snow disappears, you find them that they've worked during the winter under snow cover, creating these channels on the yard, kind of meandering channels. And as they kind of eat away at the grass, the base of the grass, they leave all this fluff. Sometimes they'll create little nests with it, etc. And so, as you mentioned, you just rake away the fluff. If the little channels are only maybe an inch wide, then the grass will fill in, the remaining grass will fill in sideways and fill it in okay. If they're too wide, the little channels, then you might sprinkle grass seed, or you might sprinkle grass seed anyway. Also, fertilizing that area will help it to fill in better. Now, if you do sprinkle grass seed, you'll have little grass seedlings coming up. So use a lawn fertilizer that says it's for newly seeded lawns, so then it won't burn the new little grass seedlings as they come up. And so, I suppose they kind of found that nice little area to kind of hang out under the snow over winter. So preventing them another year. During the summer, they kind of tend to disappear. They're going hiding out in the perimeters. So next fall, if you consider that they might come back again, putting traps around kind of the perimeter there, or PVC pipes with a poison bait inside so that pets and kids can't monkey with it. Sometimes trapping is preferred because actually if those voles get poisoned and a predator bird, hawks, owls, eat that little vole, then they can in turn get poisoned, and we need our predatory birds. So interesting. Yeah, I've gotten lots of emails from people with vole damage. I had a little bit of vole damage on our own yard, not as bad as some years.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your help.
Yeah, thank you, Mary.
Thanks, Mary. So Bridgette thought it might have been your wife, Mary, calling to see if,
my wife
pick something up on the way home, right?
Sure. we haven't bought our Easter ham yet, so maybe that was the call.
Right. Well, Don, thanks again for joining us.
Yeah,
We
thank you.
We do
Gosh,
appreciate
it's
you
always a
coming
pleasure
by.
to be with you and with your listeners.
Well, thank you again. And speaking of changes in the weather, we do have an update now from the National Weather Service. Bridgette, you must be a mind reader. The National Weather Service just issued a winter storm watch up and down the valley and into Lakes Country for Friday night into Saturday. So the National Weather Service is kind of going on the same page as what we're thinking here is that that second system, not the first one, we're under a winter weather advisory for storm number 1, but storm number 2 is going to pack a little heavier of a punch, where much of the valley and into Lakes Country could get an additional 6 to 8 inches of snow on top of storm number 1. So the way it's panning out now, we do have some light snow on radar right now, generally south of the 94 corridor, although if you're heading west on 94, we're getting some indications here on Department of Roads map that a little bit of slippery travel out around the Dickinson area once you get a little further west. But other than that, we're looking at a few wet roadways with the light snow falling. Again, ground temperatures and air temperatures a little too warm for we're not worried about accumulating snow this evening. But that winter weather advisory goes into effect tonight, and we'll see light snow overspread the area. Less than an inch accumulation overnight tonight. So your morning commute tomorrow should not be a problem. And a few scattered slippery spots, but that's about it. We can get through that. But then that snow will continue and start to accumulate as we head through the day tomorrow. So we'll see slippery travel as we head towards tomorrow afternoon, and especially your evening commute home tomorrow, is going to be a little slippery with about 2 to 5 inches of snow across the FM area. Then we'll see a break as we head into Thursday night through about noon on Friday. Then Friday afternoon into Saturday afternoon, a winter storm watch goes into effect. We'll see snow spreading into the area from the southwest with the next storm. And some of that snow is expected to be heavy Friday night with 6 or more additional inches likely. So if you have travel plans, please keep up to date on the forecast and road conditions. So for Bridgette and myself, I want to thank you for joining us on Weather and Ag in Focus. Don't go anywhere. The Jay Thomas Show, it's coming up next.